going to read the whole thing because I have this article here from Dan Shipper. What comes after you automate everything?
I'm going to come.
Now, before I read it, there's this video from him talking about the AI job apocalypse. And I saw this because Mark Andreessen said that he co-signs it.
The AI job apocalypse is not really a thing. Absolutely, we see companies starting to reorganize, and I think that makes a lot of sense. To be honest, a lot of the reorganization, you can say it's AI, but it's overhired and the company's not doing as well and all that kind of, it was coming, and this is a good excuse. But the mass unemployment thing, I think that some AI CEOs are talking about, that's not going to happen. The pattern that I see so far is that what a new model drop does is they make yesterday's human competence cheap. They ingest all this data of what has happened already, and they make it really cheap to deploy that in whatever situation you want. This is a new power that everyone has, so it gets adopted super rapidly. And suddenly that stuff is everywhere. Suddenly anyone can make a landing page. There's new landing pages everywhere. Suddenly everyone can write. There's slop tweets everywhere. But what's interesting is because it's all coming from these models and everyone's using basically the same models, it all looks the same if you use it in the most default basic way. And so it becomes commoditized. It's not valuable anymore. And what humans do is we go in there and we're like, yeah, we have all this frozen human competence from yesterday. How do I use this to make something new and interesting?
That right there. So it's become commoditized very, very quickly. So people experience the commoditized version of it and they go, oh, this is slop. And they don't look any further than that because they lack, I don't know, curiosity, because they're just like a Scrooge or something. I don't know. But yeah, there's lots of slop, and there will continue to be lots of slop. However, because humans are what they are, there's also going to be a lot of people who are using it to essentially turn themselves for the sake of the creative process or the constructive process. They're creating versions of themselves, different versions of themselves that they can manage at the same time. It's a slave class. You're creating an extremely well-behaved, responsive slave class that never sleeps and is always there and never gets tired. Imagine if somebody told you that everyone having slaves that are incapable of rebelling and never sleep would make everyone poor. So here's this piece. After automation, why AI progress creates more work for humans, not less. This is from Dan Shipper, the guy in that video I just played. There is a paradox at the heart of AI. At Every, we've automated everything we can. We use Codex and Claude code across coding, writing, design, customer service, and more. We alpha test all of the new models from OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google before they come out. We are riding the exponential boom in model intelligence and automation as far and as fast as possible. And yet it seems like for us, there's more human work to do than ever. We are a team of almost 30 people, and we haven't fired all of our employees in favor of agents. We haven't ditched software as a service products in favor of vibe-coded apps. We still hire humans to do customer service with a lot of agent assistance, and we still hire human writers and editors and engineers. Our work does look completely different than it used to, though. We don't write code by hand anymore. If you mention someone in our Slack, it's a toss-up whether you're talking to a human or an agent. Managers are committing code like ICs and engineers are talking directly to customers. For the last several weeks, AI has responded to 95% of my work emails. I am always at inbox 0, an extremely rare state for me, but I still review my email. In short, the future looks weird but also familiar. The familiarity is surprising because the one thing CEOs, knowledge workers, and investors seem to agree on is that AI is a threat to jobs, the economy, safety, and human meaning. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei warns that AI could wipe out up to half of all entry-level white-collar jobs. Meta just laid off 8,000 people and is installing software on US employees' computers to capture mouse movements, clicks, and keystrokes for a higher quality source of AI training data on advanced knowledge work. And see, here's the thing. Yes, AI could wipe out up to half of all entry-level white-collar jobs because what it's doing it is commoditizing the value that is provided by entry-level white-collar jobs, which means the people who used to be trying to get a job as an entry-level white-collar worker can now themselves hire entry-level white-collar workers for virtually nothing. So they don't need to go get a job as an entry-level white-collar worker. They can hire their own suite of entry-level white-collar workers that manage all of those little mundane tasks. Even Citadel's Ken Griffin seems shaken, saying recently, these are not mid-tier white-collar jobs. These are like extraordinarily high-skilled jobs being, I'm going to pick a word, automated by agentic AI. Do you realize what that means? Extraordinarily high-skilled, high-value tasks being automated. Like, I don't understand how someone cannot see that this is drastically raising the floor for everyone. When you're automating those things, when humans no longer, when a human being learning that particular thing is no longer required to provide that resource to you, it becomes extremely cheap. It's going to redefine the labor market. The benchmarks rising exponentially with each new model seem to back this up. On humanity's last exam, a test of graduate-level reasoning, top models went from the low single digits a year ago to roughly 44% today. On GDP Val, a test of how well frontier models perform real-world economic work versus humans, frontier models jumped from similar lows to about 85%. I don't keep up with any of this stuff. It just is, I don't really care about just give me the thing and let me play with it. In May, Meta, an AI safety research nonprofit, released an early Claude Mythos result showing that the model had an 80% success rate on tasks that would take a human expert about 4 hours to complete. It seems that we're on the cusp of an AI smarter than any human with the autonomy to work for almost a full day at a time. And yet, the paradox remains. If you talk to anyone in the AI industry, or to early adopters outside of it, you'll hear the same thing we've noticed internally. There's more work to do than ever. Like previously, you might not have had work to do because it wasn't possible to do those things. But suddenly, what is possible to do has drastically expanded, which opens up all sorts of opportunities that were not there previously. And the early movers are the ones who are going to benefit from it the most, in like a compound interest sense. The big question within the industry and without is this just a temporary state of affairs? Thank you, Pale Morning Dude. Allow me to just go in and fix that there tip goal immediately. Please do tip your streamer, folks. Speaking of slave bots. Don't make me be your slave bot. Tip your streamer, tips.kingpilled.com. So the big question within the industry and without is this just a temporary state of affairs? Will the next model drop be the one to replace everyone? We watch the benchmarks and sweat, wondering if there's a tipping point around the corner where all of the jobs go away. There's no tipping point coming where things flip and the jobs are gone. The new reality is the opposite. The more we automate, the more expert human work there is to do. Here's why. AI commoditizes the residue of human expertise. There's a line for you. You can dwell on that for a little while. Ponder that while you go for a walk. AI commoditizes the residue of human expertise. What is the residue? The thing, the imprint, or the thing that human expertise leaves behind. The tangible evidence of human expertise. That is being commoditized. Whatever can be made explicit enough to train on. That collapses the value of default model output and creates demand for what's different. Demand for what's different is demand for human experts, even as we approach artificial general intelligence. You see what's happening here that he's describing. Because AI commoditizes the residue of human expertise, suddenly it's like you use up all the things that are there and you need more. You need different. And the only thing that can produce different is humans. And so suddenly there's like an endless demand for different. Produce the new thing. There's an immediate reward feedback mechanism there for producing the new thing. To understand why this is, we have to go beyond the graphs and look at how AI is used for work today. That will help us see in a more grounded light the paradox and its resolution. How we got here. We've been covering the future of work with agents since 2022. 3 years ago, I wrote about the allocation economy, that working with AI tools would eventually look a lot like the work of human managers. This was back when basic prompts and responses inside of ChatGPT were still considered alarmingly futuristic. Then, as a company, we became extremely Claude code-pilled in mid-2025. Kieran Klassen, general manager of Quora, note, pilled? Being pilled like this? This is a Yarvinism. Kieran Klassen, general manager of Quora, suddenly found he was able to ditch handwriting code in favor of spending all day giving plain English instructions to a coding agent in his terminal. That quickly spread to the rest of the organization, and on Lenny's podcast 12 months ago, I called Claude Code the most underrated tool for knowledge work. I bring this up because our best predictions have come from treating every as a kind of early adopter lab. We tend to run into new work patterns before they are normalized, and as the technology matures and the tools become easier to use, those patterns start showing up in the broader market. So he has his company that exists for a particular purpose, but then there's like a meta purpose that has emerged around it, which is that they've created almost like a vacuum for frontier work in these models to do the thing that they're doing. And so now you have both the work that you're working on and as a commodity itself, and then the actual work that you're doing in that work that you're working on, which is another thing that can be commoditized. So for example, like you can build a particular platform for a particular use case and monetize that use case, and then you can also monetize the structure of the thing you use to create the platform.